All right, so today we are going to do Missed RTO Manager SVTS Data Reporting Webinar 2020. Welcome and thank you all participants who have joined today. This session is going to cover Missed RTO Manager SVTS Data Reporting feature. Myself, Raz Ramazi, I'm the Implementation and Product Consultant. So today's agenda, so I will be covering the SVTS reporting funded data. So in our agenda, I will be walking through the process of collection of data and the time frames. Then I will also talk about how to extract the NAT files report from SRTO Manager platform, how to set up contract and link to student in the platform, how to enroll SVTS funded student in the platform, then how to update SVTS related student data in the platform, and what is required to be reported and where the data comes from. So we will also discuss about the mapping of SVTS format versus where the data pulls from the platform. Then we will also discuss about the submissions tools where you can submit these data and the process to submit the reporting data. Now, the process of collection and time frames. So the data that you are collected for your state Victoria, you are going to submit your data to Skills Victoria training system, which is SVTS as a word. So it's a web-based data validation software which accepts yearly, monthly, or specific period reporting data as long as it is in the format of state Victoria. Now, the second one is reporting the data contains all the unit activities. So any students you enroll into a course and there's a unit activity, based on that information, you will be able to pull the unit activity report in the form of NAT files for a month or a specific period or yearly, and you can submit to from SVTS portal. Now, as per the reporting requirement, at least once a month, you need to successfully upload your comprehensive training activity data to SVTS. So it's easy to extract from the system as long as you have a correct data recorded in the system. Then all providers with WET funding contract, you need to submit your data. You can also include your fee-for-service students as well. So which means that you can extract all the students funded and fee-for-services, and then you can submit as a one file to SVTS. Now, this is important for a provider to report the accurate and complete and also an error-free data to get your claim. And it is your obligations if you are approved as a funded provider. So if your data contains any error, you need to fix and you need to submit the error-free and you need to submit the complete record as well. Now, if you need to know more details about what are the process and where you can go and report the data, there's a link that you can click and you will be able to find the SVTS 2020 user guide for you to know more about the process. Now, the next process is how to extract NAT files report from MEST platform. So log into your system with an administrative role. In your dashboard, what you have is a BetMIS tool to export your data. Okay. Now, in here, what you have to do in order to get the files for SVTS reporting. Now, you need to select the type as a state. Then you need to select report type. Now with the report type, there's three options in the system. So you can do a final report, you can do a monthly report, or you can do a specific period. You can put the date range. As per the requirement, you may need to submit your monthly, as mentioned in the previous slide. So depending on what type of data you need from the system, you will be able to choose any type of report you would want to export. Then you must select the state Victoria, and in here there are two options. One is BetMIS claim and one is non-claim. Now if you're submitting all your fee-for-service students, in that case you will tick non-claim student. Now if you need to submit only your funded data for claim, then you will tick the first option, BetMIS claim funded. Now there are venue where you have deliver your training. So if you have multiple delivery locations, you can only select the locations that you would want to include, or depending on if you want to include all in one, you can select all the venue, you can select claim and non-claim, and everything will come into the format that you would need to report. Then for the reporting purpose, you need to export the TXT NAT files as a NAT format, TXT format. There's also a facility for Excel for your internal purpose. Then system generates as a GIF file. So these GIF files can be submitted from SVTS portal. So I'll walk you through that one as well. Now, how to set up a contract and link to students. Now, if you are approved as a funded provider in Victoria, then you need to set up the contract, which can be linked with students from the offer stage, and that information will transfer to a unit. And then when you pull the report, all these contract and funding source will come into the report. Now, the process to do this in the platform is you under admin section, you have a managed contract schedule. So you have a first step, you go and add your contract. So maybe a contract for 2020, how many contract you have received for 2020, you will be able to add. And second step is manage contract schedule, where you will be able to link your contract with your funding source. So what are the different type of funding source you are approved for? You will be able to link that contract. Now, next step is once you have set up your contract, then if you have a domestic students who are also funded in offer stage, when you are converting the successful applicant to a student, there is a functionality in the platform built in which allow you to select a funded as a student course status. In the course, you will say this is a claim student based on this flag, and there is a contract that you can select. So if you have 4 or 5, you will be able to select from the drop down menu, or if you only have one right now, then you can only get the current funding source and the contract, and which will also be translated to a student course, and that further translate to a unit that they were enrolled. Okay. So that's the important step. Now, if you missed out to do it here, there are multiple sections in the system which you can do the same thing from student course or from student results. So as per the platform standard, there is a functionality, you add a contract, that contract can be linked with an applicant. If they're successful, convert to student. Now the next one is how to enroll SVTS funded students. So now they are enrolled into a course successfully. Next step is there's 2 ways to enroll students into their unit activity. So one is from student results for individual enrollment. So this is the snapshot of individual enrollments. So student is enrolled into a course. Under these courses, you have a different unit. So at the moment, there's a 3 unit. Now, based on your contract, system will pre-populate the funding source here, and it also flag that there is a contract assigned to this unit. Then there is another field which is client fees others. So apart from your tuition fee, if you charge students any other fees such as material fees or any resource fee, that information can also be recorded for individual unit. Now the rule is if you're charging $30 for other fees like your resource fee or any other fees, and if the total unit for students is 3, you have to divide by 3 and record $10 as a value. Okay. So you cannot record $30 as an overall value. You need to divide the total other fees divided by total number of units as a part of your packaging rules and record that value in the system, which you can update later on, but that's the process, and you can simply click on enroll. The same functionality is also available from compliance bulk enrollment. So I'll show you where we can do all of these ones from the platform as well. So basically what happens is you will select the units, system pre-populates the funding source and the contract link to the students. Then for client fees is recorded. The way to record is divide the other fees total by number of unit that is part of the package rules. Okay. Now, the next functionality here is once you have enrolled students, how to update SVTS related student data. Now, so you have enrolled the students into a unit. So there is a manage update the student unit outcome. So when you click on that particular icon here, it will open up manage unit enrollment page for you to update the outcome, update the tuition fees or delivery mode or predominant delivery mode. So these all are informations you can update. Some of the informations are pre-populated based on your setup. So if you set up a unit with the tuition fee, now the way to record your tuition fee for your SVTS data is you need to record your hourly rate for each unit. So you need to calculate your hourly rate or find out your hourly rate and record. Let's say if you're charging $15 per hour, then you need to record $15 and apply to all the unit that student has enrolled. Okay. So if you have not set up that as a predefined, then you can update in this page. Those delivery modes are also pre-populated. You can update based on that particular student. You can also record the other fees. So here you can also update the competency if a student has enrolled successfully and student has achieved the competency outcome, or if they are continuing as enrollment, you can use continuing enrollment. So you can do different activities under managed enrollments. Now, the next important functionality with SVTS related data is their SVTS particular informations. So under in this section, so next icon you will see is update student unit activity event miss value. So when you click on this unit, this particular icon, you will be able to select all the unit that you have enrolled, and you can bulk update all these informations for that student. Now there is locations, the funding source are pre-populated. You will be able to put the commencing ID. So these all are pre-populated value by the system. If you have recorded study reason, that will also be pre-populated. Now, if there's a training contract ID or apprenticeship ID, if your students is traineeship or apprenticeships, you may have additional informations. You can record those informations here. Then there's a waiting school flag, any fee exemptions, eligibility exemptions as well. So if a student is a fee help, then you can also flag that informations. Then course commencing date. So based on the students enroll into a course and their first unit, they have started, then you need to flag that what is the course commencement date. Similarly, it also pre-populates the client fees others. And you have a purchasing contract, which is your contract setup that you have linked with the students. And you can bulk update all of this data. If you have missed out anything or if everything is correct, then you don't need to do anything. So basically, you need to select all the unit. Update means that all the records for the student will have the same event miss value. And then when you extract a report, it will pull the report correctly. Now, what is required to be reported and where data comes from? So what I have here is a mapping document. In order to create your organization file, where we pull the data from. Okay, so basically for your NAT files, these are your mapping rules. For training organization identifier, there is a toad ID, your college name. So you need to go to admin configuration and setup section if you receive any error related to NAT 10. Okay. So for NAT 20, which is your venue or training locations, that's where it will pull the data and it creates a NAT 20 file. Similarly, for NAT 30, it records the data under courses, and based on that, you will be able to create your NAT 30 file. So if there's any data that required to be updated, you will be able to go to your courses, manage course, and update your events related data. For your NAT 60, which is your unit informations, so in order to manage that, or the mapping rules here is you can go to your manage units, and under there, when you're recording a brand new unit or existing unit, you can update, and they need to have these values to create your NAT 60 file. Now the next one is the student file, which is a student profile and student postal address. So contact details. So in here, so in order to create a NAT 80 file, so it basically pulls the data from the student profile. So you can see there's a client identifier, student ID, their details, date of birth, address, there is a labor force informations. So based on during applications, you can record some of this data, and some you need to record after they are converted as a student. So one of them that you need to record after converted to student is, let me show you here. So survey contact status. So there is a series of options available in the system. By default, system put the value A, which is your survey is available for students to provide a feedback or a contact by an ASQA if they are given a consent. So basically that information you have to record once the students are converted. So if you have received any error for NAT 80, you can go to this mapping field, go and update the data, and that will fix your error. So similarly, NAT 85, it comes from your postal address and also from the student profile as well. So that makes the student contact details. Now the next one is NAT 90 file, which is the student disability. So during applications or post applications, if you have recorded students or identified the disability category of the students, based on that data, it will create a NAT 90 file. And the next one is NAT 100 file, which is the students' prior education achievement. So before enrolling into this course, if they have achieved any courses within Australia or overseas, depending on, you will be able to record that information, and it records a NAT 100 file as a education achievements. Now, the most important file that is required to submit in order to get your claim is NAT 120. So these files determine what data to include. So as long as you have a unit activity falls on your date range. So if you are going to extract the data in the month of May, if a student has enrolled into month of May, or they have enrolled from 2019 and still has activity falls in the month of May, you will be able to pull that information if you are extracting the data for the month of May. Okay. Now, here, so some of the informations are common. Basically here, what you can find out is what is the unit start date, unit finish date or competency date, then delivery mode, outcome identifier, then funding source, your commencement ID, training contract, apprenticeships ID. So whatever informations you have recorded under manage unit enrollment or your update admits value section, that will pull together and make NAT 125. And based on our experience, most of the users receive an error in NAT 120 because of the data is not recorded correctly or as per the business rules of SVTS. So in that case, you will be able to go to the student results and update the data where you have received an error. So some of the informations are pre-populated by the system. Program enrollment identifier, we have a combination of student ID, course ID, attempt, and commencement date. And similarly, you have an enrollment identifier system generates automatically with student ID, course ID, subject ID, and unit ID. Now, once you have reported your data to SVTS with this enrollment identifier, then you cannot change the data. It's already been recorded over there. So you have to continue to report the students' data, and then they will successfully complete that unit with the competency outcome. Okay? So if you change the data and then informations will change, and you will receive an error such as your subject identifier is changed, or different type of errors that you can receive. Now the last one here is NAT 12030, which is the student's program completed file. Now your SVTS, what it does is it creates a NAT 130 file even students are continuing enrollment. If they're current students also, it reports the data in NAT 130, and from the system you can confidently say when you have changed the student course status completed, graduated, and you have issued a certificate. That's where you can say the student has successfully completed the course, and you may have received all the funding by then. Okay. But every time you're submitting your data, so system creates this 10 file for individual students based on the unit activity, and you will be submitting these informations. Now, before going to the next one, so I will show you how these informations can be done in the platform. So here, so I just log in myself as a super admin. So when I log into the system, then what I have is I go to an Evetmis and I can select my state. I can select the different type of report I want. Then I can choose my state, okay, and I can export my TXT files. Now, the other things that we covered here is under admin, your contract. So under manage contract, so you will be able to add your contract from here for a particular contract. Then step 2 is manage contract schedule, where you will be able to link, your contract with the funding source available in Victoria. So that's what I have done here. Okay. So based on these informations, then we have recorded the similar informations for this particular student. So in this section, based on our conversion, the student Evetmis is funded. Okay. Now, other information that records based on your conversion is under edit course. What you have is the contract schedule, and you can also update the unit tuition fee. So let's say if you missed out to record into your unit setup, you will be able to put your value or hourly rate and then update to all 3 units and the same value. Okay. The next one is under student results. So based on these informations, system pre-populate these informations and you enroll the unit. And in here, what you can see is update unit results. So in this section, you will be able to update the information that you have carried over from your different table, from unit or from your setups. And you can update the outcome for a student based on their progress, delivery mode. You can also update competency date if they have completed outside of the finish date. And if student has withdrawn from unit, you can also record the withdrawn hours, and that's the nominal hours that they have to do to complete the unit. And next one is Evetmis, where all the Evetmis related data is populated. Okay. So here we have a funding source, national. So you will be able to update the contract. If you have missed out, you will be able to choose if they're still in school or any exemptions. Okay. So based on these information, you can see that 120 files are created. Similarly, based on the profile, it creates net 8085, all the informations that recorded here. Creates the net 8085, and then other information such as course and unit makes the NAT 30 and NAT 60 files. So based on the guidelines here, the mapping documents will help you where we are pulling data from in order to report the data correctly. Okay, going back to the same sections here. Now, after the extraction is done, you have successfully recorded the data. Then in order to submit this data, what you have to do is you need to have an account to your SVTS portal. So you can go to this particular website and then you can log in with your username and password. Or if you are a new user, you can register and get the login details. Then once you log into the portal, then you need to follow the instructions. There's a functionality where you can upload your data as a data transfer, upload the files and the net files that you have generated from the system. You upload and you acknowledge the terms and conditions and then submit the data. Okay. Now, once you have submitted, then you will be able to see your progress of the validations, or if there's any errors. So you need to follow this process. So validate the, submit the data, and you will be able to export your summary. What is the outcome of your data submission? Now, if there's an errors, warnings, then you need to go back to your RTO manager system. And if it's the error related to NAT 120, you go to NAT 120 and fix the data. Or if it's related to address or related to student previous education achievements. So depending on which file has what issue, based on the mapping, you can go and spot fix. Then what you have to do is re-extract the data and then upload again. then you will be able to see error-free data, and that can be submitted. And based on that, you will be able to receive the funding as per the SVTS policy and procedures. Okay. So that's all we have for SVTS reporting from MES platform. Thank you for your participation today. For assistance and support, you will be able to go to our online user guide. You can also send email to support@meshgroup.com.au, and we will upload this webinar into our YouTube channel. So you can also subscribe to our channel, and you will get the same recording. Thank you very much.